Hello and welcome to the Big Bad Marketing Podcast bonus.
Bonus episode.
All right, we have talked extensively about focus and attention and all of the reasons that people lose focus and some of the ways that we on a personal level really try to hone in our focus. So, what we're going to cover in this bonus episode is the ways that we maintain our focus as small business owners.
Yeah, I like to think that I'm Janae. These are tools that we use to keep our shit together most of the time, right? And these are like processes and operational tools and business items that we use to keep our North Star, to keep all of our movements aligned with our North Star and all the tasks we do, everything we get up to, like that we're always moving towards that, even when life is lifing and all the other stuff distracts us and pulls for our attention, we're still able to stay on track. And I wouldn't even call these productivity hacks. These are just like the ways that we're like, we know life is cray cray and we're going to stay focused anyway, way.
I love that. And for brand new small business owners who are still figuring it out, we hope that this helps you and gives you a little bit of guidance. I think some of these things now in hindsight, I'm like, we should have done this from day one, but some of them took us 6 months or more to actually implement for our business. So I think we're just now sort of finding our footing because we pretty much, our business happened in text messages and voice notes, if we're being honest.
It still does. It still does.
Yeah, it still does, but I think we're better about teasing out the actual to-dos from those things and putting them somewhere where we can act on them later.
And we're getting much better at the Eisenhower matrix or like the now, later, never thing, which is this is a fun idea, a shiny object. Go
Yeah.
back and listen to our last episode that where we talked all about shiny object syndrome. But like, hey, this is a really exciting idea. And then either one of us or ourselves will be like, but it probably lives in the later column and the not urgent, not important column, and maybe should just get deleted from this list because it's just not aligned with the main thing. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the tools that we use on a daily basis. We use Trello for project management. So Trello is a free tool, trello.com. None of these things that we're going to talk about are, we're not affiliated with them in any way. We just use them to help our lives. So,
But if you're listening and you're from one of these places, let us know. We would love to provide affiliate links and sponsor and get sponsored.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Holler at us. So Trello is the first one. It is a very super basic to-do list style platform where you have different boards. So we have a board for Big Bad Marketing. We have a board for every client project that we're actively working on. You can create individual tasks. You can assign them, put comments, add your documents. It is like a Jira style, Monday style, but really simple, easy to use.
Okay, for a business owner who's not the super tech savviest, which I think in our case it's me, I would like to liken this to like if you made a bunch of post-it notes and you put them into different columns, and we have you can set it up however you want, like rows and columns. It's sort of a spreadsheet, but less mathy. And it's like you write one task per sticky note and you put it up where it should go. Like, is this due today? Is this due tomorrow? Right. That's how we have it set up. And then what's cool about it for us, but even if you are doing this on your own, is like I can work on the task and add some notes to it and make some changes and put it back and then tag Brooke, and Brooke can go in and check it and make changes after that and then move it to the next column. Like this got sent to the client and it's ready for review, whatever it is. And it's a way to, even if you're on your own, keep track of what the heck you have done during any given day or any period of time so that when you go back to it, you don't have to rack your brain and remember, did I make those edits? Did I call this person? It's listed right there and it's keeping track just like on a granular basis of all your tasks.
Yes. And it's free. There's a free version. You get up to 10 boards for free as of this recording, which for many small business owners is sufficient to do the things that you need to do.
Agree.
Yeah. Slack.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I wish we had started using Slack from day one. I think a lot of things get lost in a text message thread. The thing that we love about Slack is you can create the individual channels and drop ideas to keep things organized. So in the Big Bad Marketing Slack, we have
What is Slack before you go into the channels? What is Slack?
Ooh. Yeah, so Slack is a messaging platform that a lot of corporate companies use for managing internal communications as opposed to email. Slack is sort of the email alternative for internal communications.
So it's like what was that called? AIM, like an
Yeah.
AOL, like it's like
Yeah.
live chatting, although it doesn't have to be in real time per se, but it's more live versus email maybe is like I send it to you, you get to it whenever you get to it. You email me back.
Yeah. And instead of conversing with an individual or a certain group of people, you have conversations around ideas. So, or kind of threads. So, for example, in the Big Bad Marketing Slack, we have a channel for client projects. We have a channel for our blog. We have a channel for our podcast. We have a channel for dance party celebration time. We have all of these different channels that allow us to say, okay, I want to say something about this lead magnet idea that I just came up with. Let me drop that in the freebies channel. And then when we're ready to tackle that, that is where we log it. So, really cool way to kind of take all the different tabs in your brain and dump information out in a way that is visible to it. And even if it's just you, it
I
can be
was
a
going to
really helpful
say,
tool.
yeah, for
Yeah.
us, it's great because we go back and forth and then we can revisit later and like, hey, you sent me this thing and la la la. But I'm curious, and I would be curious if it is still useful for a human individual to use it and keep all their thoughts, just sending themselves the messages. And then they can go back to those channels and look at, like, oh, yeah, here's some notes I took about this. And I would wonder. So if anyone's out there doing that, let us know. Drop us a comment. I'd love to hear if that is useful for you. And keeping track of your notes and ideas in this platform is a viable way to stay focused.
Yeah. Or I mean, even if you're a completely solopreneur who is eventually intending to bring someone else on or who plans to use contractors, it can be a really helpful thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I know. And even on, I believe on Trello and Slack, both of the things we've mentioned so far, um, you can invite other people. So we could create a channel where we just speak to a client and the three of us can engage in that channel. Or if they have a team member or a marketing person, right? We can all coordinate and have ongoing conversations in there, or they can move things around in Trello if they want to. And if they make changes, they can make notes. So these are all like super customizable. And that's such a great feature of these kinds of platforms because we're using it in a way that's good for us and you can too.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are the two sort of big ones we use from a software standpoint for now. We still rely heavily on email, text messages, voice notes. We love voice notes.
Love a voice note.
Yeah.
Love, love. And
Yeah.
it's funny because we'll both send each other really long voice notes and then we're like, sorry, this is so long. I mean, at least I'm like a culprit of this, but like, sorry, this is so long. And then I send another voice note immediately after that's equally as long. And it's just like huge blocks of information, but it's also very helpful to get it out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the most I've ever gotten from you is like 8 consecutive voice notes for about 10 minutes of listening. But it was all good stuff.
Hate or love?
It just kept coming and coming and coming. Like, what is happening?
I'm on a
Loved it.
roll.
Loved
We
it.
should have just gotten on the phone is the answer, which is
Right.
another format that we've used, but I think actually we lean more into like digital calls like this
Yeah.
than phone calls. But when it's applicable, we talk on the phone.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we do?
Okay. So outside of like these tools, one thing, speaking of like digital calls and video calls, I think that we do is we're really good about using our calendars and blocking time, which I don't know if this is so much a productivity tool and like a focus tool, but we use Calendly when we book meetings with clients or other prospects or other business owners for networking, right? Like we jump in on a Calendly so everyone can just be included and um, have clarity about times and align our calendars. So if you don't have a Calendly yet, that's a great tool. Highly suggest using it. Also free for certain functionalities. But we use a lot of time blocking on our calendars. So together we have a few deep work sessions spread throughout the month and the weeks. So we get on a call and the whole point is just to like be quote unquote together where we're just like quiet online in a room working on stuff. And a great way that we do that is being like, this is the task I'm working on right now. This is what I'm going to get done. And if I complete that, I'm going to do this. And it's surprising how much we get done during those deep work sessions that we put on our calendars. What do you think?
Yeah, I love the virtual co-working. And it's funny because there was a former employee at the agency where we worked who introduced me to this idea. I had never heard of it before. And when I first heard the term virtual co-working, I was like, what does that mean? And when I started to understand that it was people like leaving a video call open and literally working, I'm like, that is the wildest thing I have ever heard. And then
Yes.
I did it and I was like, oh, I get it. It sort of mirrors that vibe of I'm in the office. Somebody could just walk by and see my screen, so I better be on my best behavior and
Mm-hmm.
doing this thing. And I love the way that we do it too with the hey, how's it going up front? Like, let's spend 5 minutes connecting. And then here's the thing that I am going to accomplish during this 2 hour window that we have together. And yeah, sometimes it is the most productive 2 hours of my week, truly.
Yep. And it does create that office vibe element because we'll like water coolery. Like I'm like, hey, look at this funny thing someone just sent me, which is me being totally unproductive and getting out of my deep work and pulling you out of it too. But it does create this like when we're on our own and we can just work quietly and do our thing, we don't have that camaraderie, that connection. So I enjoy that little like 30 seconds. Oh, my dog did this, la la la,
Yeah,
that's nice too.
yeah, agree.
Okay, aside from that, which I also wanted to mention is called body doubling as well. So if you're interested in that concept, like the virtual co-working, it's also called body doubling and you can look it up. And I believe there's like platforms if you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur doing this thing on your own, there's platforms you can join where other people, like you don't even have to know them. You just meet up and you do work together and they maybe tell you this is what I'm working on today. You tell them and then you go at it and you can have that sort of vibe of accountability and connection without actually being with anyone.
Yeah, that's super cool. So another
Um,
thing that we do with our Calendly is we have intentional no meeting days. So if you go to book a call with us, you can catch us in limited hours on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And as of right now, Wednesdays and Fridays are completely blocked. Those are our deep work days. Those are the days where we are actually getting stuff done, or maybe cutting out early, maybe not working at all,
hey,
right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's really important that we protect that time. And I think it's very easy as an entrepreneur in a service-based business, especially when you are trying to get clients to say, well, I'm just going to give availability from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, because that's what people need. And it's like for us, we're building this lifestyle business where we want to also live. So we were very intentional and said, okay, let's give this block on Monday. We'll give this block on Tuesday. We'll give this block on Thursday. That creates morning availability, midday, and afternoon across those 3 days. And if somebody can't find something in here, they'll let us know. And to date, we have had zero problems. Everybody finds a time and everything is okay. And it gives us the peace of mind of knowing that outside of those blocks, we have absolute and complete freedom to just do really deep focus work.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. And I love this bit you're saying about lifestyle business and being intentional because that is so much at the crux of how we've built big bad marketing to align for us, not the other way around. Like we're creating it, not being force fit into it. And it's such a pleasure to get to work in this way. And while there's like daily kinks and nuts and bolts flying around and we're navigating all of that, it's so cool to be like, actually, today at noon, I am going to do this thing and it has nothing to do with work. I've just decided I'm going to take a yoga class or whatever it is and like skirting out of here. And I don't have to feel bad. I'm not missing meetings. I'm not missing deliverables. It's just a product of having created a business around the way we want to live and be. And I'd say, whoever, like listener, small business owner, entrepreneur, just listeners, like if you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed that you haven't been able to create that, sign up for our big bad marketing newsletter and start getting tips sent for free to your inbox about how to create a sustainable business that's aligned for you, designed around you and for you, and makes you feel excited and reignites that passion you have to do the thing you're doing and do it in the way that you want to do it. I just heard someone saying sort of like being a an entrepreneur and a small business owner means like you have the leadership over your own life. And I love that. And if that's what you're seeking, but you're kind of struggling and clunky in the process of getting there, yeah, sign up for our newsletter. It's in the show notes, and you'll be able to get lots of tips and support and guidance on how to get there, how to build that thing that you really want.
Yeah, I love that. And protecting your time is the most valuable thing that you can do as an entrepreneur. So even if you are still living in this realm where you can't imagine giving less availability to your clients, could you block off an hour? Could you block off two? Could you block off a half day and make that just your time? And maybe that is your deep work on the business block where you are not thinking about your existing clients and checking off those to-dos, but you are actually very intentionally seeking to improve your business. Maybe you're focusing on lead gen and outreach for new customers or your marketing strategy, but can you just do one small thing to carve out and protect that time? Because that is truly the most limited and most essential resource that you have as an owner,
Oh, yeah. Can't print more time.
right?
Yeah, I love that. And I think this is what we're talking about. The calendar blocking is one of the big ways we protect our time, whether that is together, whether that is separately, whether that is here are the blocks of time. We are protecting the blocks of time that we haven't scheduled, like those days you said we don't take meetings. Like that's protecting the time by not making those available to be booked and used for, whatever comes up. Those are like, we're using that for whatever we want and whatever we deem is the priority.
Yeah.
And I was going to say another couple of simple ones we use for time blocking is like, it doesn't just happen that we're like, let's record a podcast right now. It's like we time block. These are going to be podcast recording sessions. These are going to be when we work on social media posts. These are when we work on marketing strategy overall and lead gen. Like we carve out time very specifically for things that we want to get done. And if we happen to talk about a couple other things, that's great. But that really helps us, I think, make progress on the to-do list, which just leads back to that focus piece and feeling like we are getting things done. We're not being lazy or unproductive. There's just a lot to do and we're doing it.
Yeah. And I think there are these really actionable, tactical, sometimes physical things that we do to block and protect our time and ensure our focus and the tools that we use and the methods that we use in the time blocking and calendar blocking. But a huge thing for me in maintaining and trying to create focus has been these mindset shifts
Mm.
where I have started to try to flip the narrative that I have been in for so long in corporate world, where the idea is that you are available for 40 hours a week. You are
Ugh.
available during your working hours. You respond to whether Teams messages, Slacks, emails, phone calls, texts, you respond to all of that within, 10 minutes of getting it. And there's this constant expectation of the hustle. And I think one of the things that I've really been doing over the past few years is breaking myself and my mindset of those things that I sort of slipped into and started to tell myself different stories that make it okay for me to, in some ways, do less, but also do so with more focus.
Yes, I think that's the bottom of that is at the bottom of all of this is how can you be more focused and more targeted with the time you do put into it so that you don't have to be doing more. You can do less. I love that.
Yeah. So, what are some of those mindset shifts that you have felt over the past, year?
Oh yeah. Okay. Here I want to share two of my top favorites. And one of them is just I think that we say this, although recently I realized how to say it in like a succinct way, but I think we say this a lot like building a business, if you want to do it right, you have to do it sustainably and it takes time. But the succinct way is sort of like building a business doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time.
Love that.
And the more that I like lean into that and see that actually the layering of what we have been working on together over time is really accumulating and it's making a difference. And I feel the momentum of it. The more I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't just like when we were on day 3, like, okay, do we have a following yet? Okay, are people listening to our podcast yet? Like, no, and maybe they still aren't, and that's okay. Like this is a process and it's happening over time. And
Yes.
then,
And
oh,
it's
go ahead.
hard with that because, especially for new business owners, when you are in it and you're grinding and you're not yet seeing the financial results, it's a really hard place to be in. And I think they call it the dip. Seth Godin wrote a
Okay,
whole book
sure.
about this. And when you are in that dip where you just feel like I am heads down doing the thing and it's not yet working, that's where the vast majority of business owners stop and say, you know what? I could just go back to corporate. This would be really easy. I can go get a job where somebody tells me what to do every day, and that would be fine for now because it's hard. And it is hard to keep going when you are not recognizing the financial rewards of all of the effort that you are putting in. But I love this mindset shift of like building this business happens over time, not overnight. And if you can just keep on plugging away with that, that can help you stay focused over extended periods of time.
Oh
And
yeah, it's a lifestyle mantra.
it is.
Yeah.
I love it.
And yeah, I think it's like a guiding principle for the long term because aside from not recognizing the financial value, I feel like this is a way more fulfilling lifestyle for at least for us and the long-term impact and benefits. And granted, like we're so privileged and fortunate and blessed to be in a position where we are able to make this work despite all of those financial implications and everything else. You know, it is hard. Um, but the sort of point there is like the fulfillment that I see will come on the long-term side of this, aside from money, which is great. Like money will is a tool to help make our lives easier, but the real change that I hope that we can continue to have and the impact we can have. That's what drives this, right? Over like the finances and all that stuff. So I guess if you're in that position where you're like, it's really hard, like lean more into like, why are you doing this? It's so much more maybe meaningful, at least for me and from my perspective, to do it this way than be like, okay, let me go to the perceived security and stability of a formal job because hey that stuff is also like it seems I think it's not shiny object but I think it seems secure and stable and sometimes it is but sometimes it's not and layoffs are real and businesses going out are real and uh not in like a negative way but sort of like the backstabby company culture of like sorry we hired from outside and we're you know we don't need you anymore or whatever it is like that's real.
Yeah, it is real. And I definitely lived much of my life under that illusion of stability and security when I was young and innocent and didn't know about the ways
Now
of
you're
the
so
world.
old.
Now I'm so much older and
So old
wiser.
and jaded. Yeah.
Yes, but truly I recognize now that the stability comes from the diversification of the things that we are doing in this business. And when we have all of these different client relationships, if one client goes away, we still have all these other clients over here. And
Hmm.
that to me offers stability in a way that putting all of my eggs into that one full-time basket really never could. You know, it was great while it was, but then if it isn't, now
Yeah.
what do I
Then
do?
what?
Now I go from, 100 to nothing.
Yes. Okay. I love that so much. First of all, I just want to give a little compliance check. We are not tax experts. So don't look to us to learn how to diversify your funds. Um, just kidding. But no, I appreciate that so much. And I remember actually in agency land learning this sort of guiding principle, which was to never let one client be more than 25% of your revenues or incomes.
Hmm.
And I found that to be a really interesting concept. You know, I think we're still putting that to the test and seeing how it works for us. But I appreciate that the sentiment, which is if that huge client, if you have someone that's 50% of your business and they leave, well, you're still, even if you think you've diversified, right? You maybe still need to work what that number is and what that looks like for you. So yeah, really appreciate it. And I really align with that. And this building it over time, not overnight thing, just overarching.
Yeah.
In a way where maybe on a more practical and tactical and day-to-day level, a mantra, a mind shift Um,
You got it. Go ahead.
this is a one take show. A mindset shift. Wait, this is reminding me of when we were trying to record something. What was it? And I kept saying a word and I could not shake it. And it was like marketing strategies, but we were trying to shift it to something we did it like 6 times and we had to like change it and highlight it. Okay. Mindset shift for the day to day that I really love is I'm not going to get everything done today. I'm laughing while I'm saying it's like
Ooh.
so silly, but
But it's also so powerful because I, before I made this mindset shift, I felt like a failure every single day when I left something on my desk for tomorrow. I felt like if I don't clean up every little thing, if I don't respond to every single email, if I don't get done every little task, I have failed for today. And I love shifting to this idea of if I get my highest priority thing done, then everything is okay.
and that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
good is better than perfect.
being okay with accomplishing a more important and pressing thing and letting the other things not drop completely, but fall to the bottom of the to-do list in a way where I don't feel anxious because I know that I have moved the needle on the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. You're walking towards the North Star.
Yeah.
And this is, Eisenhower Matrix. I was just talking about that, which I want to shout out my friend, my dear friend Tegan, who shared that with me at one point during a mastermind of like, you are kind of all over the place with your directions and the tasks you're doing. Try this tool. It will help you place things based on two values, how important they are, and then how urgent they are. And typically the idea is like what is urgent and important is your first do this now, where everything else kind of spills out from there, like never do it later, have someone else do it or send it off, right? Um and what I want to point out here is like do not mistake urgency for important, because what's important for us, right, is like the long-term North Star and walking towards that. But what's urgent today might be like getting a client deliverable out or something like that. And always making sure ideally that those things are aligned. Yes, but don't just be like, oh, this is so urgent and we have to do this and this takes precedence. Just because it's urgent doesn't mean it's like more important.
And there's something to be said for you being the one to decide what's urgent. And email is a great example of this because a client comes flying in with something and says, "This is urgent." And then when you look at it, you're like, well, that could have waited. That doesn't really need to happen right now. So it's sort of then on
Mm,
you to put on your lens of, is this actually urgent? What is more pressing for me? Obviously, client satisfaction has to factor in there somewhere, but handling things in a way where you are being the one who defines it and not letting other people dictate where your focus is.
yeah. And what's coming up is this experience I had where someone was telling me basically a similar situation to that, but it happened with their child. Their child was like, this is really important and urgent right now. And the parent was sort of like, I don't see it that way. And this is just a case of differing priorities. And being able to acknowledge for the client in that case, like that seems to be a really big priority, but maybe for you, it's not. And that's okay. And allowing for that. These are different and we just see it differently. And as long as we can find that middle ground where both of us are satisfied, like you said, with the approach and the timeline and the level of importance that we're putting on it, we're good. But yeah, I totally agree. Don't just be like, they sent it to me, so we have to get it done today to make sure they still stay happy with us.
Right.
Don't drop the ball either, but find that middle ground and have boundaries in how you work. Because I think one thing you and I do pretty well is say, hey, we don't do emergency turnovers. Like we just don't do it. If you're going to call us at midnight and be like, this is a content emergency, first of all, there is no such thing as a content emergency, which is why we're in this field and we don't work in hospitals. Like bless all those people who do. You've got a lot of commitment and dedication, and not that we don't, but we're just like, hey, I don't want to be woken up at midnight to republish a blog. There's just like, it's no. uh yeah. I think I made my point.
Yeah, heard. So, any other mindset shifts that we want to share or mention before we go?
No, I mean, I think that we've covered a lot of like the key ways to reframe and
Mhm.
reset. And um, I think at the bottom of all of this, I just want to say, like, are you having fun? I know fun isn't always the most important or urgent thing, but if you're not enjoying what you're doing, burnout's going to come through, and figure out how to weave more, do less, and more comes through that, just like you said, and find the fulfillment and joy in it, and the passion, the thing that brought you to this in the first place.
Love that. And be sure that you like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. And that way you won't miss an episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
Have a
listening.
big bad day.